Good morning, good morning. Today is a Wednesday, August 28th. This will be the first stream of Fallout that I've got going on. First part anyway. I do have a new baby character, so bear with me. I haven't started over in a little bit. It's been a minute for sure. My last character, I think that I started over, um, is like level 50, I believe. So, I haven't played Fallout as much. Um, I hope everybody's week has been treating you well. I can't believe that we're halfway through. I was talking to my hubby, and we're not married yet, but we've been together almost 6 years, and we weathered some really tough storms. So we both feel like we're already married, and in God's eyes, we already feel like we're married. And when we actually have our ceremony and our wedding, it's going to be probably one filled with a lot of tears because I'm a very emotional person and. Um, We've gone through so much, so much, and it's going to be just like it's that light at the end of the tunnel, kind of feeling. It's just like, oh my gosh, we've worked so hard for this. And I remember actually doing a lot of like researching and meditating, and I found that um, it's actually better to not get married in a rush. And I understand why. I couldn't fathom us getting married early on and having that stress. So with us taking our time, we were able to smooth out all the rough edges. And we were able to see each other truly at our worst because I was a total mess from past trauma, childhood, and into adulthood of how I was treated by other people. And I went into the relationship um, without knowing exactly who I was. And I kind of had an idea of what I wanted. I had a vision, but I don't think that that vision was God's vision. So it was like a rude awakening. It was like a wake up call, like God saying, hello. This isn't gonna be perfect. You don't just hop into a relationship and it's gonna be all fine and dandy. So I'm really excited about this week because my hubby, he had just started a job. This is his second week, and he's always had really bad experiences. Like he sticks with the jobs. He's a hard worker, but he would often fall into that rut where he wanted to fit in with people, and he would fit in with the people who were not good for him. He would fit in with people that weren't good for him. And those people would weigh him down. People wouldn't be able to really see. Sorry, I've got to clean my glasses. um, like his employers weren't able to see his like true potential because he hid that, thinking that it's better just to fall in line with everybody else and just pretty much exist. And he started to wake up like I did. I started my journey um, back to God last fall. It was oddly enough September, which I come to like reading the Bible, found out that that's actually when the new year started in biblical times. So it made a lot of sense, that I was starting then and up until now. Like, it's not going to be easy going forward. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's going to be a breeze, but every hardship that we had, especially through this last, this last almost year, it has been hard. We had so many blowout fights. I went back to my family in Idaho to visit with them, to try and make amends because I was thinking, like, do I really want to stay here? Like, is that what God wants me to do? Like, do I need to stay here? Like, do I want to put myself through this? And I went back home, and it was like this big wake up call. It was like God saying, yeah, that's where I want you to be. I don't want you to be here. I don't want you to be back where you were. That's just going to put you right back where you started. So that visit, thanks to my hubby's dad, who bought the plane ticket for me, which was amazing because at that point, I had just lost my job. I was working as an assistant in a care facility, and I walked in on two of the managers. The one that was there physically was on the phone with one that was in another facility, and they were talking about me. And I got this feeling, this heavy feeling. It's like, so like God was like telling me, this is not going to be good for you. This isn't good for you because if they're doing this to you now, and you've been here for only 3 weeks, imagine how going forward is going to be when your contract takes place. Because if I started my contract, then I would have to stay, or I would have to pay that penalty. I'd have to pay a whole paycheck to cover the cost of all the training. So um, I took a leap of faith, and I left my job. My hubby fully supported everything. I talked to him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, I completely understand, and I know what you're doing and why you're doing it." So anyway, I didn't have the money, and his dad was so gracious to buy the ticket for me. I told him it was really important, and I couldn't explain why really, but it was extremely important that I go back to my family because I felt like it was something I had to do. And it was a lesson for me, saying I can't go back. I can't go through that closed door. That door is closed. It's done. I do try with my family, and I do try to bring them closer to God, but I don't force anybody. It's something that God will do another time, and it has to be their decision to do it. So I don't put that in my hands. I do always stay in contact with them and everything. So, and I apologize. I'm just standing here talking. And yes, I'm not talking to anybody on my live, I don't think. So, um, yeah, I don't, I'm not, I'm not talking really to anybody. So, this is just for the viewers. This is just for the viewers who come and stumble upon my channel, after the fact, because these are videos where I'm kind of introducing myself to people and letting people know who I am and that I'm here. It's just my presence. I will have that audience. They'll find me. They'll find me in time. I trust God. God will lead them to me, and I to them. So, if you're watching this after the fact, I'm sorry for rambling. I hope you stay. I will be playing. I'm sorry. I am currently doing a fast right now, and after my live, I'm going to be just kind of delving myself. And I was told yesterday that it's really funny how God speaks to you. He always finds a way to speak to you, and it's never in the way that you expect. Don't always think that God's going to speak to you the normal way, because He created you. He knows how to get your attention, and I realize that now, that He is everywhere. He is everywhere. So He spoke to me, and He was like, starve the flesh, feed your soul. So I'm like, okay, I'm starting a fast. That's exactly what He wanted me to do. So I started my fast, and that will end is whenever I feel like it's going to end. I'm just drinking my water, which is really hard because I love coffee, and I don't want to consume anything except for water. So it's going to be really much of it is much of a sacrifice, but that's okay. It's for God, and I will do that for sure. Oh, I will take these. Um, but yeah, this is a new character. Fallout is one of like my favorite games. I tell you, one of my favorite games. I got started on Fallout with Fallout 4, and I was completely just I love the story, I guess. I was just completely engulfed in it. I remember playing every day with Fallout 4. I beat it. I went through every faction. And Oh, excuse me. Um, I absolutely love the story, and I went with every side. Every side. I don't have a favorite faction per se. Like I like the Minutemen. I do. But like every faction has like a little part of them that they feel is the right way to go. So it's that instance where I think if all of them work together, it would be beneficial. But of course, everyone is it's pride, you know, and I look at it in a biblical way as well. Oddly, I know. Oddly enough, it's just like it's a lesson because it's like the the one thing that's getting in the way is ego and pride. You know, nobody wants to admit that they need each other in order to actually make it work. They want to say that no, I can do it myself. And I think that kind of relates into present day, where people are too prideful and they let their ego get in the way of going to God, you know, going to God, going to the pastor and asking for help. You know, they're like, no, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to take control of it myself. And that's like one thing where I see myself. You know, I had a period where I did that and I failed. I just kept failing. I kept slipping and slipping and I didn't learn my lesson. And then I eventually just was like, took a step back and was like, oh, um, wow, this is the reason why I kept slipping. You know, I'm not on my path, and so that's exactly what happened with Fallout. You can learn a lot through this game, especially with the story about how the post-apocalyptics comes in with the war, you know, the Great War. And if you look at our world today, there's so much going on with the world being so fluctuated, and you can see the darkness really taking over. And it's really scary when you think about that. Really, really scary. But you have to have faith. You can't let that fear get a hold of you because that's going to be the enemy. The enemy is going to want you to fail, like, to have that fear and to have that hold you back. Um, that's the reason why I didn't do, you know, so much in my life. And the reason I'm doing the stream now, even though I'm a little uncomfortable because I'm really a shy person, but you know, God gave me this gift where I resonate a lot with people and I never really listened to him. You know, I've always had jobs where people would always just gravitate towards me, you know, their coworkers. You know, they'd come to me and they'd talk to me and they would just talk to me all the time. And um, I remember something from when I first started retail. I worked for a company called Gottschalks. It was a small business, family owned, and it was my first retail job. And I would work there for almost 2 years. Um, but unfortunately, the company ended up filing for bankruptcy. This is the time during the recession. When the recession hit, I believe in 2008. And so the company unfortunately did not survive, and we were told that we were going to lose our jobs, and they were shutting the stores. They're closing all the stores, going bankrupt. And I left, and the person that I used to work with there, I remember her name. Her name was Sherry. Several years later, I think it had been 5 years or so, and she had come up to me in the store, and I never expect people to really remember me. We didn't really do a lot of talking. We did talk about spiritual stuff at that time, I was pretty spiritual still. I was with God. I didn't really have a lot of bad things happen to me during that period. I was just going, you know, following I guess, the path that God had at that time because I was really being driven towards the service industry, customer service, speaking to people, and oh, these ghouls. I'm kind of glad that they put ghouls here instead. It used to be liberators at the top of the vault when you came out. Oh, those things were so hard to. I would die, like constantly. Right out of the vault, you have nothing. If you, especially back in the day when Fallout first came out, it was a challenge. But anyway, so I felt like I was on the right path at that time, but that was just for that period. I believe that that was God building me up to be able to be comfortable, speaking to people and helping people, because that's what I like to do. I actually did like the interactions. I didn't like the negative interactions, which I did get. So after Gottschalk's closed, I went to Kmart, and I was there for I believe 4 years, and I made some really good friends out of the coworkers I had. There was a couple that were not very um, trustworthy. They were ones that liked to talk to you, but they would only talk to you to get ammo for them to talk behind your back. It was never something where they were genuinely interested in you. So I kind of picked up on that right off the bat with them. So I was really careful, but there's other coworkers. There's like three that were there I absolutely adored, and I loved working with them. And they always made me feel like I wasn't alone, and they always made me feel that I did have a place there, and that no matter what, they were there to support me. And they did. They did. When I had left Kmart, they actually threw me a going away party. That is the first time that anyone's ever really thrown me a going away party. And it felt so good to have people that cared about me genuinely, and not just to talk to me and get ammo to talk to me about behind my back, about things that had happened as a childhood, and use that against me. I thought that was really unfair. It was really unfair. So at this period of time, I'm still really naive. I'm not out in the world. I'm um, pretty much under a rock. Don't really talk to anybody. I never wanted to date anybody. Really have the I didn't really have the confidence, because I had been told throughout my childhood, I've always been told I was nobody. I was always told I was ugly. I was always told that I just wasn't good enough for anybody. And I believed those people. I believed those people. So I never really sought to date anybody. And I did kind of want to save myself for that one special person. Um, anyway, so I was working at Kmart, and we went to this place called North 40. It's like a farm supply store. They kind of have everything. Those of you that are in the Midwest, think of it as a Fleet Farm. They have almost everything that you need. Um, I know Fleet Farm is kind of it's kind of changing a little bit, and a lot of people, because I used to work at Fleet Farm too, and a lot of people come in and say they don't like the direction that they're going since they went corporate. So, but think of it as a Fleet Farm from back in the day before they went to corporate, where you could almost get anything that you wanted there, anything. So North 40 is just like that, and I was there with my mom and my sister at the time, because she had picked me up from work. Because I don't have my driver's license right now. That was one fear. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. No longer worried about it. No longer worried about that. I'm just now working on it. But I used to be so scared to drive because I didn't trust anybody else. And anyway, so we were there shopping. We were getting dog food for our dogs. At that time, I used to breed labs, so we were getting supplies. And she just comes up from behind me, taps on my shoulder. She's like, "Oh my gosh, Becky, I'm so happy to see you." And she gives me a hug, and we start catching up. And I never understood. I was like, "Wow, we haven't spoken in like 5 years. It's been a while, and I can't believe that you actually remember me." But yeah, to know that I made that impact on her, that kind of realized at that moment that there was something about me that it was special. Um, but unfortunately, those voices of other people still were there, and I didn't listen too much to that. I should have listened to the word where it was saying I'm special, and I kind of got caught up into doing things when I moved here and went to Wisconsin that I'm not proud of. I did a lot of things I'm not proud of, and I turned away from God's path, and I think that has been one of the reasons why I said had such a hardship. But it wasn't just that. It was the fact that I was being tried, tested, and proven that I am strong enough to withstand um, the battle. And it was a battle. It was a spiritual battle with me. I remember telling my hubby at one point that it felt like there were, um, like inside, it was like tug of war, and it felt like it was ripping me apart. And I didn't understand at the time what that was. So, like, I don't know where I'm going with this. I guess I'm going with this with people that if you think that, people are telling you all these things that you're not good enough and you're not you're not suited to do that, and you have this dream in your mind. I guess I should join a team. If you have this dream in your mind and you're you're like really, really adamant about um fulfilling that dream, but people are telling you, no, it's ridiculous, you're delusional, you can't do that, don't listen to them. Do not listen to them. Don't. Because you are capable of doing anything that you put your mind to, especially through God, because He makes things happen. And it may seem like, you're trying and trying, you're falling. Um, Understand that things don't just come to you. It's not easy. You do have to put that work in. You have to put that work in, but don't give up. And I am, unfortunately, I don't have Fallout First. I didn't renew it this month. I decided to, instead, I sent the money that I had in my wallet on a camp spot because I knew I wasn't going to be really playing Fallout on my high character. And on my low level character, I'm not really going to collect anything. So I didn't really think that it was going to be important. So I was like, no, I'm not going to renew it. I will wait until the next season, which is actually starting on the 3rd, I believe, for Fallout. I'll wait till the next season. So in September, I'll probably renew my Fallout First because I like to do the boards. Continue playing. I guess I better look in my Pip-Boy. Um, but I will be, when I stream, I'll probably be bouncing back and forth from my low level to my high level. I know we have the Mole Miners coming up. That starts tomorrow. It goes from, for this weekend, so it starts Thursday at 11 Central Time. That's where I'm at in Wisconsin. And it'll go until Monday at 11, so it's to the weekend. And now I'm nervous because it says there's another person watching. Hi to my viewer. But yeah, it goes from uh, tomorrow from 11 Central Time to Monday. Mole Miners, there's no new plans that I'm aware of for them, but there's still a couple I'm trying to get, so I'll probably hop on Fallout on my higher level character to hunt those starting tomorrow. So I'll probably do another stream where it'll be Fallout, but it'll be on my high level character, so you'll be able to see me just going in and demolishing everything because that character, I'm like over 1,000, and I've gotten all my like all the weapons and stuff that I absolutely adore. I've traded for. I've got a handmade that is my baby. Gets me through everything, and then my flamer, of course, which is my second in command, I guess. But I'll be doing those and hunting those, and I can show you guys like all the spots where I usually find them if you want to tag along. And then I think after that, I'll probably do a couple more streams of mostly Fallout because of the new scoreboard. And I'm really excited for that. I haven't actually gone to look at any of the data mine stuff for it. It's going to be completely new for me. So when I log on after that update, everything will be a surprise. So I can't wait to unbox that and see all the goodies that we can get. Anyway, let's see what I've got here. We have all of these things we have to do. So, let's see. Go to the wayward. It used to be where you go from the vault to the camp immediately. So I haven't really played Fallout in a while as a new character and done the main quest. This is new. And hopefully the music isn't too high in the background there. Popping my knuckles, sorry. Oh my. And I might just hop over to Fortnite too, because I've been really loving the drive I have for that game. It's new to me, so it's Fallout. I've been here since the beginning, so this is not new. So to me, it's a little redundant, a little boring, I guess. I remember logging onto this game for the first time. Oh my gosh, I was in awe. But the bugs, oh my gosh, the bugs. It was not a fun time. I remember one of the bugs that was like really annoying and funny at the same time. The enemies, it mostly would happen to like smaller enemies like the dogs and such, but the body would be under the map and you just have its head like stretched all the way out. And oddly enough, that would hit you, but you being able to VATS it or hit it was near impossible. So you just have to like run away out of the area. And then other things that I absolutely loved was like the queen fights. At that time, they were so difficult. I remember we used to run with a lot of people after I met my hubby. Um, he introduced me to a lot of friends that he ran with, and then we ended up making more friends along the way. So we usually would have big parties. We'd have 2 different teams, sometimes 3 different teams. So we would be just out there with the queen fight, and I remember it took almost the entire server to bring her down. Now you can just get 3 or 4 people and you're done with it. The game has definitely gotten a lot easier than it used to be. Um, and I remember the survival aspect of it. The survival aspect of it was, to me, part of the reason I loved the game because you couldn't go away from your game too long because it would drain, like your food and water would drain. And if you let that go, you'd actually start to dehydrate and starve to death. So it would affect your health. So you couldn't AFK or anything. Nowadays, it's just like that part you get a buff, but there's no negative impact, if you don't eat or drink. So collecting food and water is just mostly just for buffs. I remember that the mask that you do, like that you get from uh, from the quest from here, used to have a legendary effect. Oh, that was super nice. It was a really good trade item. Now it's not really worth much. I gave mine to a friend, and well, it's like I can always get another one to the quest again. It's not hard to get, but I kind of remember when it was actually worth something because of the is the buff that you get. This part here is just so boring, so I'm sorry for the silence. Getting all the details here. I kind of want to switch to Fortnite so that way I can just keep running. I get bored. Someone I know is like thinking I have ADHD because of not liking to sit still and not liking just to be stationary. You know what? If you don't mind, I think I will switch. I think I will switch. I will switch to Fortnite. I love the running and going, and like I love Fallout. I do, but streaming it is just not really very fun. I don't know how people do it. Like I need to be able to keep moving, and this here is just oof, boring. I think I'll just kind of skip through. Skip, skip, skip. And yes, I am. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, yeah, I thought starting a new character would be great to do, but I honestly do not feel like doing this quest again. It is just not the same as it used to be for me. Like the excitement and the challenge is completely gone. I remember doing on one of my other characters and it gets so boring. So I'm going to go ahead and quit. I'm going to go to the main menu and change my I'm going to change my character. Um, I just think that'll be fun. Oh, that way I can actually get into events and actually do things. Or else the level 3, I'm just going to get plummeted by everything. And I don't want that. Yep, and you'll get to see my character. She's got devil horns and everything. And if you see my name, I've pretty much left everything as is. I remember feeling like really judged with people, especially if you look through my Facebook and Instagram. You're gonna see things on there that is like, how in the world is this person a Christian? How can they call themselves a Christian? How can they be close to God? How can they be walking with God when they did all these things? And it's true. Like I had a really unfortunate past. I've been through a lot of things that made me realize that, you know, the evil in this world is really real, and it wants you to be separate from Jesus, from God. And I just, the moment I woke up was inspiring. It was rough. I remember crying and crying and crying, and I was on my other stream. I talked about this, but I literally had such a big awakening that I ran out of my room, out of the house, and down the street. All I had on were my usual wear. It was chilly during that time of the year, so I was wearing my sweater, and then I just had the shorts underneath, and I was barefoot. Um, Thankfully, it was a sunny day, and I just remember running down the street, and I didn't care how crazy I was. I was seriously running to God. I was running to God, and I was just praising, and because the awakening I had was just so big. It felt like I had died. I could feel like everything just go from me, and it did. It feel like I genuinely did die and was reborn, and that moment was so powerful that now when people look at me or when they talk to me again after they haven't talked to me for a while, because I've been in this period of isolation from people that I used to talk with all the time, and they are asking me all these questions like, are you okay? Is something wrong? You're not acting normal. And I'm like, yeah, everything's wonderful, actually. I've just been on this spiritual journey. And I would just get isolated. People just drop me like flies because of it, you know? And it was like really hard to see these people who at one point said that they cared about me, and you know they were there for my best interests and whatnot. And it was just really hard. And then on top of that, my family also. I remember going to them, and they were just taken back. Even though they say, "Oh yeah, yeah, we support you," I could sense that they didn't really support me. They didn't really believe. Um, it I could sense that they just thought, oh, this is just, you know, her going crazy and just having a midlife crisis or something. So that was really hard for me, to be isolated. But I knew that I could fall on God. I could lean against God, and He'll get me through this. And I'm still going through that today. I'm still losing people left and right. The more and more that I talk about God, the more and more that I praise Him and I tell people my story, it's like the more and more that they just leave my life. And I understand that the reason they're leaving my life is because they're a part of my old life. You know, they can't walk through these new doors with me because they still want the old me. They want the old me that would give them whatever they wanted. They wanted the old me that would, you know, do whatever they asked. I wouldn't say no to anyone. And I realized that these people are being removed from me, and even family, for that reason, because that when I'm elevated, you know, when God starts to put me where I need to be, where I'm supposed to be, He knows that these people, if they're still in my life, they would take advantage of that and they would pull me back to where I was. And I don't want that, and God doesn't want that. So, you know, if you are in that spot, just remember that those people, you know, they're being removed for a reason. And just keep holding steady. Pray if you feel that. Pray, fast, feed your soul. You know, starve the flesh. The flesh is what um, kind of hinders your ability to elevate and walk with God. You have to be able to discipline yourself, and that in itself is very difficult. You know, for me for sure, because I used to be very meek. I used to be very soft-spoken. I didn't use profanity, and then I got into a world where people showed me that, oh, you don't have to care about anything, just do whatever you want. And that's when everything started spiraling out of control. So I started listening to the flesh, and I walked away from God, further away from Him. And I even went as far as, you know, it's pretty much spiting Him and cursing Him, because I thought that what was happening to me was Him punishing me. So I started punishing myself. I started doing self-harm, things that were harmful to me, and I acted like I didn't care, because I was like, okay, if God's saying I deserve this, then I deserve this. I'm going to start punishing myself. And I realized that that's not the case. You know, it's not God who's punishing me. Um, this is lessons. These are lessons, and I was looking at it completely different. I was looking at it the completely wrong way. And instead of saying, okay, what can I learn from this? I was saying, why me? What did I do? I wasn't embracing it. I wasn't leaning on God to say, okay, God, I'm going through challenges. I need you to help me. I need your help. I didn't praise Him for everything He did give me, because when I look back at everything I've been through, so many instances, I should not be here. And yes, here's my beautiful camp. Yesterday, I was actually on finishing this. There's still a few touches I need. Um, I got an idea to build a church, because I just I love God so much, and I know that a lot of people are like, you shouldn't bring that into the game. You shouldn't bring that into the game, but it's already in the game. You know, there's churches everywhere in Appalachia, and I just wanted to build one where I was like in all of His glory, and someone actually came in and dropped you've been insulted, and I was like, okay, go ahead and mock me. That's fine. You don't have to agree. You don't have to agree with me. This is just my take on um, me thanking God. You know, I'm able to play this video game on a PlayStation 5. Um, Everything that He has, I shouldn't have this. Like, I don't currently like have the money for it, but you know, the grace of God. It was something that I was able to use to connect to people, and it was the one thing that I was able to use to connect to someone who's very dear to me, and he's a very close friend, and he has helped me on my journey to get closer to God. He helped bring like all the pain and all the suffering and everything I was holding on to up to the surface. He helped me bring it to the surface. You know, he helped me find my path again. You know, he helped me go closer to God, and I would not have met him. I wouldn't have met my hubby if it wasn't for this video game. So, I it's just the reason I built the church, because I wanted to show my appreciation for God, and I wanted to show other people that, you know, God is so good. He is so good, and um, and if people would listen to me as I talk, I'd be able to tell you, and I'm proof. I'm proof right here. You know, I was a walking dead person, literally. You know, my kidneys were functioning at 7%. I should have been kidney failure. I should have been in a hospital bed. I should have been fighting for my life, but I was working. I was walking, um, and I was alive. I shouldn't have been. I shouldn't have been. When my blood levels were low, my hemoglobin was so low, I should have been in a hospital bed. I shouldn't have been walking, but I was. That was God. And my hubby, oh, his story is even greater. You know, when we put our story together about everything that we've been through. Oh man, I can't wait for people to hear that, um, because it's not just about people growing themselves so closer to God, but it's about us building a foundation for our relationship, for our future marriage together, because we have weathered waters that were far rougher than most people actually encounter in 20 years of marriage. We encountered that within the first 5 years of being together. And the first, I would say, 3 years were the hardest. You know, we lost our child. He was the only sole provider when I was going through my chemotherapy treatments and my transplant and everything. So it was really hard. And a lot of people are like, why didn't you get on disability? First of all, I was in mourning, and nobody would come to me and help me. Like, nobody was giving me information, and I was so caught up into fighting for my life that none of that mattered to me. You know, the money didn't matter, and it didn't matter to my hubby at the time either. He was completely okay with everything that was happening. He was in a way, you know, collected and calm, and he was able to hold it together while I was fighting. I was fighting for my life, and a lot of people did not realize that. Um, it was a very dire situation. I didn't even realize it at the time, of how close I came to dying time and time again. But, you know, God was there. I didn't realize it at the time, but God was there. He was holding on to me. He was fighting my battles that I couldn't see. I was fighting the physical battles, but he was fighting the spiritual battles. He was fighting the darkness that was trying to consume me, because the darkness knows what your destiny is. And God knows. God wants you to get there. And the evil doesn't want you there. The evil doesn't want you there, because the moment that you get on that path to God, you squash evil, and it completely loses its grip on you, and it loses its grip on not only you, but the people around you that you touch. And that has a chain effect, you know, that has that ripple effect. You know, it starts with you, and then it goes to 3 other people, and then those other people touch other people, and it's just a ripple effect. Evil doesn't want that. And we have to be very mindful of the things that happen in our life to not let that get us down. You know, we have to lean on God, and we have to have that faith, even if it feels like the world is crumbling around us. That is just the darkness, the evil that is in our world, trying to keep us away from God and away from what we are destined to do. Because, you know, it's hard to believe, because we've been taught so many different things in our world that shouldn't be possible. And um, when I talk to people and I'm able to see that light bulb go off, and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, that is a miracle. I'm like, yeah, miracles happen, and they have been happening. A lot of us just choose not to. We say, oh, it's just luck. It's just luck. And we don't credit God for what he does for us. And I was part of that problem, for sure. Let's go ahead and do Rad Rumble here. One of my favorite events, for sure. Um, I don't have Fallout first, so I'm going to have to be very strategic on what I pick up. I'll probably just drop all the junk. Use my repair kits here for my stuff. I was running nukes before I hopped off Fallout. I was running nukes and doing the events with the 3 robots. I forgot what it's called. um, but I was running that because of how easy it was to take them down with a chainsaw. So, I didn't put anything in my stash box that I have from um, the holiday scorched either. Oops, voice crack. So I've got my inventory is at pretty bad. I'll go ahead and do this and get some water. All right. I'm sorry I had a cough, so I muted so I didn't cough in your ear. Turn the music up a little bit. I can barely hear it through my headset. I'm gonna put friendly fire on. I don't think we've got that on yet. Alright, and if you're new to Fallout or you're not familiar with it, this is what's called a bloody build, and a friend of mine, the one that kind of was helping me with my spiritual journey, so knowledgeable on Fallout. Like, I have been playing probably longer than he has, but like, he's so smart, and he doesn't see it, but yeah, he's really smart. So he's been helping me with my my build, and that was my loadout thanks to him. I'm gonna go collect some ore, at least get to level 1, so that way we don't fail it. If you're new to this event, a lot of people do they do this event, but then they don't collect. So, like, they'll keep everybody alive, which is, I need to run up there now because we're gonna lose somebody. And I'm down. Ha! Trying to rush in and save people. I've got the wrong flamer on, but you know, it works. It works. Let me put the right one on here. There we go. Go in here and save this metal worker if I make it. I hope I make it. I don't think I'll make it. Ah! Yeah, nope, I didn't make it. I tried. There were level 1 at least. And hopefully it's not too loud as far as the audio goes. And yeah, just ignore my name. That was like years ago. We were still in a dark place and still doing things that we shouldn't have been doing. And my hubby thought that was a perfect name for me at the time, which is not lying. At that time, I was very... I don't even know how to say it properly. I just wasn't who I really was. I was pretending to be somebody. And going along with what everybody wanted me to be instead of actually being true to myself. So ignore the name. It will change as soon as God lets me know it's ready to be changed. I'll change it, but right now it's a part of my story. Oof, this is like really loud. Yeah, sneak here and change the audio here. If it steps and stuff, I'll leave, and voice, I'll leave. But wow, that was like super loud, so I'm sorry if that was deafening. I did not mean that to be. I don't really care about the XP when I do the events anymore. As soon as I reached level 1000, I was kind of done. So mostly what I do now is just offer support to just do the events and um, let people enjoy themselves, especially with the new players. Let them like rank up. This place, when you do a Rad Rumble, if you have like the proper buffs, this right here is just an XP farm. You know, you can get so much XP. I remember leveling up. I think the most I've ever leveled up on this was 3 times with a younger character. This one, and then also Moonshine Jamboree, another one of my favorites. It's so fun. You got the music, and um, you know, someone who's thought has always been called like a hillbilly or a redneck because I grew up that way. My parents are from rural areas in Idaho, and they moved us down to Florida. Um, I was born down there, and you know, they moved when I was an infant to Idaho for 3 years, and then moved back down. So I like to think of myself as a Southern girl. I've definitely got a lot of the Southern parts, like the hospitality and everything. And I got to see hardships. People struggle um, because of my time in Florida. I don't know if a lot of people get that from, like in Idaho. I don't really remember my time. When I moved back, I was 15 when we moved back to Idaho because I had 2 great grandmothers who were both in homes, and they were both not doing too well health wise. And then when we moved up there, they actually ended up passing away that same week. That same week, we had 2 different funerals to go to because they had passed away so shortly after. Well, I wouldn't say the first week but they passed away that first week, and then the second week is when we had funerals to go to. It was a sad time. I didn't really get to know them all that well. But yeah, I was definitely um, I like to say blessed in a way because I got to have a childhood that let me see so many different aspects of people and how they react. I did go to church as a child, but the church that I saw wasn't the church that was true to God. You know, I saw a church who was money hungry. The pastor just wanted money, and it didn't even go to the congregation. The money went to the pastor. The money went to fine clothes and jewelry and fancy cars and going away on vacation all the time, and it never went back to the congregation. And then there's people that would judge you, you know, if you didn't have these kind of clothes, if you didn't if you didn't act a certain way, if you were poor, you know, if you were poor, they would just look at you. They would look at you like you were worthless, and it was like, wow, I thought you were supposed to be accepting. And that wasn't the kicker. uh, the kicker was that the person who got my parents into that church, um, people thought that he was a well-respected man, well-liked. He couldn't do wrong in the eyes of anybody. But my brother and I were friends with his stepson, and we got to see the side of him that other people didn't get to see. You know, his stepson would have bruises all over him, and he would tell us, he's like, yeah, you know, he hits me all the time. You know, he he's mean to me. He doesn't treat me like my other siblings because he wasn't the guy's son, you know, biological son. Um, his siblings were, you know, his biological children, and he treated him so bad. And I remember coming over one day and just bruised and bruised, and I'm like, I felt so bad and so helpless because nobody would even listen that this guy was so bad and he was mistreating a child. And the child did nothing. The child did nothing to him. He just felt that since the child wasn't of his own, that he was lesser of a human. And that was so heartbreaking. And so I got to see a lot of sides of people. I got to see homeless people who people would pass by that were so nice. And then I got to see people who were, rich, and they were also very nice. But I also got to see people who were rich and they were the meanest, most vile people that I have ever come across. But other people will look at them and say, oh, they're so nice. And I'm like, what do you see? They're mistreating people, and you're okay with that just simply for the fact that those people don't have the same things in life that they do. And it was so unfair. And it's not only that as well. In school, I was really poked and prodded and made fun of. I was tortured because I was the quiet kid. I was always welcoming to people, and I was never mean. I also never stood up for myself because I didn't think that it wasn't worth it. So that made me a target. And I know a lot of people they can relate to that um, with kids. And one of the things I remember is my mom going to the school, and it would always be turned on me. Well, she's so quiet, she's so weird, and I'm like, I'm a child, and you're an adult talking to me like I'm not a human being, like I'm something. And I remember that the class I was in that year that my mom actually contacted the school, instead of taking up um, anything with the parents of the children, the teacher decided just to isolate me. And I remember her putting me in the back of the class the entire school year, and nobody would talk to me because the teacher made me an outcast in their eyes. And it was so hard. Um, but it didn't change who I was. I still was kind to people. It doesn't matter who they were. I was still kind. And to see people treat children that way, every time I hear about that, it's just, I go back to that place and I'm like, that's not right. We've got to change the way that we are teaching kids. And we are teaching kids that we have to punish those that are the victim, and we're praising the people who are doing wrong. And that's what is wrong with the world today. I remember, um, I think it was either this morning or yesterday. I'm sorry, my mind's so like jumbled. That the pastor is talking about how in the world today, right is wrong and wrong is right. And I saw that as a child. So it's been going on. They have been molding generation after generation after generation for this ultimate takeover. And people are like, oh, you're just delusional. That's not going to happen. But I'm like, if you look at every generation before us, they've been doing it. I want to say it started maybe in the 60s, but I don't know how long it's been going on, but I see it generation after generation, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And now they're taking the care of children out of the parents' hands, and they're telling kids that if you don't agree with your parents, you can actually you can go to your teacher. And now they're going to start actually making it where it's a law that it's punishable by law that parents are saying no. If a kid comes and says that they're confused, and say that they go to their teacher first instead of their parents, the teacher is going to say, oh, you're confused, it's okay, that's okay. If you feel like a boy, you can be a boy. If you feel like a girl, you can be a girl. And if the parents like, no, they're just going through a phase and confusion, because we've all been a kid. We all know that sometimes that we're told by other kids that if you like dolls, you're not supposed to like dolls, you're a boy. Okay, I didn't know dolls were predominantly a boy thing. I used to play with monster trucks and cars, as well as dolls. Did that make me a boy? No, it didn't. And when I was growing up, we called it tomboy. So I don't know about the generation today. They're just saying it's confusion, and they're indoctrinating kids into all of this information where it's altering their minds and their mindset. Because I remember reading a story where this woman was saying how her son came to her and said, I don't feel like I'm a boy. Sometimes and she's like, no, you are a boy. It's just something that you'll grow out of. It's okay to feel that way, but you are a boy. You know, you were born a boy. And he's like, okay. And that was it. That was the end of it. And he grew up to be a healthy boy with a healthy mentality. And there's another instance where a woman was talking about her daughter, and her daughter actually was the one telling the story where she went to her mom and she felt like she didn't belong because she wasn't like other girls. And her mom was like, that's okay. You know, we're not all the same. You are a girl. You were born a girl. And it's okay if you like things that boys like. That doesn't make you any less of a girl. And she was telling a story that she grew up to be a healthy, happy woman. And she is a woman and she found her place. And she was saying that if she was born in today's world, she would have been indoctrinated and brainwashed into believing that something was wrong with her, and that she was indeed a boy, and that God made a mistake. So I took that with like, it was a big eye opener. I'm like, wow, so these are the adults that are taking the kids, you know, normal confusion, normal things that they're wondering about, and they're twisting it for their own agenda, and it is horrendous. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, there's people who don't, you know, if you're an adult and you have that, that is an adult, your mind's mature, you know what you want, you know how you feel. But as a child, you don't know. You're learning, you're still growing, you're still maturing, so you don't know. So I'm not saying that adults who make those decisions, so, you know, if you're 20, 25, if you know for sure, you know, that that's what you want to do, I have no hate to you whatsoever. None. I support everybody. I am welcoming to everybody. What gets me is the children that they're going after, and I don't agree with them going after kids who don't know. They don't have that ability to choose. You know, you wouldn't let a 5-year-old choose because they don't know. You know, you've been through the ringer. You know, you've grown up. You've been through everything, so you can help guide them. But these people, they are part of the darkness, and a lot of people are like, no, 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 no. This is not. This is delusion. It's not delusion. It's very real. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling, or if I'm talking too fast. I get nervous and I talk too fast when I get nervous. And I don't want to offend people, but I also don't want um, my word to be hidden. You know, I'd rather it be out there, and then people can make their decisions one way or another. You know, I'm not going to persuade you. I'm not going to force it down your throat. But I am going to bring it to light, so that way it's out there, at least for people to utilize. And, you know, and hopefully if a child does come across this, they know that there's nothing wrong with them. Oh, and speak of the devil, there's Moonshine Devil Jamboree right there, right after. Um, what are the odds of that happening? I can't really wait for the Mole Miners because I'm running out of things to do on Fallout, and I want to stream it more, but like the events and stuff have been pretty dead lately. Even the Mothman equinox when that was going on, I remember the first week, it was the third day, I logged on and I was trying to find a server that had the equinox, and it was like server after server after server, the event was failed. It failed. And then I finally found one where there was like 11 people, but half the people were AFK. So, you know, people are starting to fall away from games as well. And I think it's just because there's no new content. When I do add content, it's very minimal, and it doesn't have that longevity. You know, everyone just rushes in, does it, and it's done within a day type of situation. Um, Let me get to I usually hide up here because I usually die a lot. This is the weapon I was talking about. It's called Big Bad Daddy for that reason. My friend wanted me to to name it that, and it kind of suits because it's a big daddy gun. It usually has more power than that. I'm not at full potential with my health. I have to get my rads up again, but it is like one of the best rifles in this game, hands down. And then I have others that he has on his mule account, um, that I absolutely love as well. Hmm. And I just use spoiled meat and vegetables to get Nerd Rage to activate, and then if you go back to my weapon, it does more damage now. Oh, I should fix it actually, just to do that. And I need to change my apparel too. Oops. All right, now it'll actually show the true damage. Oh, it didn't even change anything. Never mind. I think it's like the best one is this here. I mean, look at that damage. That's crazy. I don't know if they buffed these or not, but I never used to do that. It only used to ever go up to like 400 and something. And then I logged on, I think it was like 3 weeks ago or so, maybe 2 weeks ago. And it was like it jumped up to 600, and now it's just jumped up to 700. So I don't really have any other perk cards I've added or removed since then. So it's like really an interesting thing to come to. I'm not going to complain though, that's for sure. I'm going to try and talk. I usually get quiet when I am focusing, and I'm trying to make myself self-aware of that more and more, so that way I can stay engaged with everybody. And then if there is anyone who's got comments or questions, leave them in the chat. I will definitely. I got my phone up so I can see the chat as well. I'm not really set up to stream. I was praying and meditating one day, and this is what was like popped into my head. And I just remember hearing God say, "This is what I want you to do." And I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't have any of the equipment to stream. I don't have anything to do videos with. And it's like, just do it. Do it. Don't worry about anything. Trust me. So, um, yeah, I did my first stream on Monday with Fortnite, and I kind of got into it a little heavy. I did. I didn't really want to bombard people with my story, but sometimes it doesn't feel like I even have control over what I'm talking about. It's like God is bringing up all these, like, this is what people need to hear. These are what people need from you, so they know that they're not alone. They know that there's hope. That it doesn't matter how far gone you think you are, um, you can be forgiven. You just have to open up your heart. Oh, right. One of my like least favorite enemies is the angler because of that fire that they shoot. My oh my. Oof. I don't know how many times I have actually died because of an angler just shooting me once, just once. The burn damage. I remember that the enemy, if you're not familiar with Fallout, we had a period where the the damage was supposed to be balanced between those that were um, ballistic and those that were energy, but at a point the energy kind of like skyrocketed. The damage did, with enemies that had energy weapons, and I remember just being absolutely demolished by the Mr. Handies with the energy, and those usually never used to touch me. Usually it was just the ballistic ones. But the energy at that time, it was awful. The robots had the flamethrowers. One tap from the flamethrower and I was out. Didn't matter how much health I had, because with the bloody builds, you have very little health because that gives you that buff for extra damage. So it is a challenge to stay alive sometimes. In that period, I just was like seeing post after post after post to Facebook, and there was an event called Test Your Metal on here, and that's all robots. And you get a lot of robots that have energy weapons. So people were just dying left and right. Even people that had full health were just going down left and right. It was so bad. That event wasn't really done during that period until they actually balanced it back out. So this game does have its challenges. I will admit that, but they're unintentional challenges. They're mostly just what people call Bethesda's Bugfesta because of all the bugs. Like every update is almost something new that's been broken. So going into it, I don't have any expectations anymore for Fallout. I just log on and play the game, and then if there is a bug, it's just you take it in strides. I don't let it really get to me. There's no point. It's just a game. It's just a game. And if there's something that I can't do because of a bug, I'll just refrain from doing that until it's fixed. You know, it's easy as that. There's really no point in complaining anymore. I still see that from time to time again. See this? I got hit once. If that was back during that bug, I would have been dead instantaneously. So they definitely have balanced it out a lot more, which I'm thankful for. Definitely one of my favorite events. Rad Rumble, Moonshine Jamboree. I love like Safe and Sound as well. And then I forgot the other one. It takes place in the bog, but it's for the Ogwa, Ugwa. I think is what it's called, the Ugwa. Um, you go after the Ugwa. Yeah, that's another fun event. Um, I like to do like the little tiny events that take like seconds to finish. Like we have Fly Swatter, just because you get the chance to get rare drops from those. And I have been after some of the rare apparel. The one thing I want to get back is the tattered field jacket because when I first started this game, early in the day I had one, and I remember scrapping it because I was like, it's tattered, it's ugly, it's useless. No one's gonna want this. So I remember just getting rid of it, and I would say probably like 3 years later, I found out that it was like extremely rare and valuable. So I could have gotten anything I wanted for it. I was just like kicking myself the entire time. I was like, why did you not stop and just do research or just keep it? You know, it weighs like 10 ounces. Literally nothing. So now I'm like more careful. So if there's anything that I question, I keep it and just research it a little bit just to be safe. It's not that I want anything, but it's just like if there is that one chance, like if there's a plan, say that there is a plan that I want, um, what was that fuel? Yeah, I'll take that. If there is a plan that I want and it's like an extremely rare plan, like if I missed it and wasn't able to, I'd be able to trade for it. Or if there's something that my hubby wants or a friend wants, even, I would be able to trade for it and, you know, it'll be available to me. So that's the reason I keep most of the things that I have. I've sold most of the rare apparel I've had. I've given it really to friends and traded it with people for things that were more useful to me. Like I had the Red Asylum dress. A friend of mine had dropped that for me because they had known that I've been wanting that since the very beginning. But then my focus shifted, and I ended up trading the red dress for the handmade that I have because the handmade was more useful than the dress, and I knew I would never wear the Asylum dress because my character, my toon, has been dressed like this for I want to say since June of 2020. I have not changed my outfit except for a few times where we had something that we had to do because of a quest or an event, or if it was something that a group of us were doing, like during the Halloween Scorch, we were dressed up, or during meat Week, we would dress up like Charlie or the butcher. We would do those type of things, and we'd all run together and do events. That would be the only time I'd wear a different outfit. Otherwise, she stays like this. So I'm like, I don't need it. And he's been wanting it. So he trades with other people. So I'm like, why not? Let's do the trade. The value doesn't matter to me as much, like monetary wise. If you look, the handmaid I have is not nearly as valuable monetary wise as the red dress, but it's more valuable to me. So, and that in itself is a lesson. Just because people say that you're not valuable to them, you're valuable, doesn't matter. Just because they don't see your value doesn't mean that you're worthless. That just means that they don't see your value. God sees your value. Other people are going to see your value. The right people. So, there's lessons everywhere. There's lessons everywhere. You just have to open your mind, open your heart, and you'll see that. I'm sorry, I'm taking a drink. I always have a hard time with fasting because I love food so much, and I'm just trying to discipline myself more and more. But the main thing that I don't like is not being able to drink coffee. That is the hardest part. But I'm willing to sacrifice that for my soul, for my spirit, so that way I can, as God says, starve the flesh, feed the spirit. Um, so I'm willing to make that. It's just extremely difficult to do. So I'm just taking sips of water every time I get that inkling for coffee. So I'm like, I want to go and make coffee right now. I'm like, I can't. I gotta wait. Gotta be strong. All right, let's see what we can do. I've already tackled this scoreboard, so I'm not worried about the dailies. Um, I guess I can go and see if there's anything I can buy from this season, because I do have tickets still. I don't really think that there's anything on here that I need, or wants for that matter. I could get the plushie, I guess. I think there's another plushie. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't really see anything that I want. I was thinking Adams, but I need 10 more tickets for that, and that's not even worth the Adams when you think about it. It takes 150 Adams to buy one level, which is, I believe, 70. No, you get 25 tickets. Yeah, you get 25 tickets. So it's 150 Adams for 25 tickets, but yet it's 250 tickets for 100 Adams. So I'm like, the trade-off is not worth it. I did buy a bunch because I had a lot of tickets left over from when I got to 150, but like right now with me only having 240, it's not really worth it, and the legendary modules aren't worth it. The script's not worth it. So I'm not really sure what to buy. I might just do the carry weight boosters, honestly. I'll worry about that later though. I guess, see, we'll find an event to do. It does get boring with Fallout, when you really don't have nothing to do. I guess I'll go and get the script out of my inventory. Oh, someone tried to call me. Oops. I was just responding to a friend's. I'm gonna get back on, and we're gonna do some Fortnite, hopefully. are some of these legendaries that I've got. Oh, and it is script surplus right now. I know starting September 3rd, if you do have any of the mutated party packs, I believe that the new plans are going to go live as of the 3rd, so you'll be able to open those mutated party packs. I don't think I've got too many. I think I've only got 9 that are carried over. I opened up all my gifts and made them. I wasn't going to keep them. Honestly, didn't think that I was going to have any new plans come on. They've already done. They might announce some new ones this holiday. If they do, they do. I'm not too worried about it. We usually have a run, like a thing that we do to farm them, so it's like really easy to get those. I'm gonna drop off some of this stuff that I have because I don't have Fallout First, and this stuff weighs a lot when it starts to build up, so I'm gonna stay on top of it. That can go. And then I'll sell the rest of the stuff. Yeah, I don't have room in my stash box. I'm a hoarder on this game. I'm awful. Um, I contribute that to Fallout 4, for sure. And even when I started playing Fallout 3, I was so bad. Like my inventory was always a struggle. I was like usually 5 to 10 pounds away from being over cucumbered all the time, and that's over encumbered. I say over cucumbered, but like I've always struggled. I'm just a hoarder. I'm really bad at it. It benefits people like on this game because if I hoard it, if I have Fallout First, my inventory is just crazy full of junk. So if anyone needs anything, I'm usually like, oh yeah, I can do that. That's no problem. I can spare that. I can give that to you. But without Fallout First, it's like I can't keep that stuff. It's too heavy. Let's see. I'm gonna try and get rid of some stem packs first. Let me go ahead and sell some serums, and then these don't really weigh anything, so I'm not too worried about. And I like that feature that it used to, if you went to sell something, that you had to scroll and do math, which is not a bad thing. But when you're playing a video game, you really don't want to. You don't want to really use your mind too much. It's bad enough you have to focus on the game. And so they added it where it just will stop the scroller at what you can sell for that amount if you have caps. That was a nice touch. I was really happy about that. Let's see. And if you are on the game, like if you're on Fallout 4, if you're watching my stream and you want to play together, if you want to get started, I've got plenty of things in my stash box that I could help with. I don't want to like baby the people that come on. I do want them to be able to feel that struggle a little bit, but there are things that I can help with as far as like plans go, because I don't think that that's the struggle to get the plans. It's mostly, the aid, the caps, the building supplies. Um, I'll help with that, of course, but I definitely do want people to put the work in themselves. It makes the game much more, um, much more enjoyable because it's not like everything's being handed to you. It's boring. You're not working for it. You actually have to go out and play the game to get the scrap that you want. Looting, that's what I usually would do. I remember when I first got on Fallout 76, I was solo. And this was a time before they added NPCs. So it was like really lonely to play this game. And I was doing it by myself. I didn't start playing with people until I was level 70. So those 70 levels were just me scraping by and fighting to get ammo, fighting to get caps, fighting to get scrap, because at that time it was really hard, and it was really hard to level up unless you knew the exploits. And I wasn't about exploits. Like, if I wanted to get to a level, I wanted to do that um, the right way. I wanted to put the work in so I can be proud of myself. And it's just a game, but it's still a part of my hobbies. And I like to take pride in my hobbies. You know, if I'm going out and doing photography, you know, taking a picture of someone else's picture is easy. Sure, yeah. You have to take a picture of someone else's picture, but they're the ones who went to that place. You know, they're the ones who hiked 3 miles in to take that picture. There's no joy in that. There's no, you have no pride. And I want to be proud of my accomplishments. So I take that in every part of my life. I don't want to ride on anybody else. I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to do it the easy way, because the easy way is not always the right way, and it almost never is the right way. So I'm definitely a firm believer in hard work, and not difficult work. You know, things aren't supposed to be always difficult, but life isn't always supposed to be easy either. Otherwise, you know, it would be boring, and people would be just doing things that would probably make you question, you know, what's the purpose of being here even. And I know a lot of people get that question now because of all the pain and hurt, but um, that steadfast love that you have for God will get you through it, you know? He always provides. He never wants you to suffer. And if you are suffering, just lean into Him and take some of His strength. He'll give it to you. That's what I found. And it is really hard. Oh, I think my game is broken. Yeah, I think my game's broken. I've got textures that are just not loading in. Um, that's just one thing I've learned through my journey. And my journey's not even over yet. Uh, I'm excited, which is strange. Like, why? Why be excited? It doesn't make any sense, right? You know that things are going to happen, but you're excited. And I know that when people are like, you're excited, but you know, every year that goes by is a year that you have less to live, because I have stage 3 multiple myeloma. So I know that I'm not going to live as long as everybody else that is healthy, but I can still say I'm excited for my future. I'm excited for 10 years from now. And I get the question, like, why? That just means that you're going to die. And I'm like, I understand that I'm going to die younger than I would like to. But, you know, I still have that faith in God that He'll get me through. And I honestly have this vision in my head where I get to grow old with my husband. I get to grow old. I get to have a family. I have in my thought that I'm going to have a child one day. And the doctors say I won't ever have kids because of the chemotherapy and everything has rendered me infertile. Um, and the last pregnancy, that when we lost our baby, was it. I'll never have that opportunity again. And I have this vision from God that says otherwise. And I honestly trust God. I trust God versus the doctors. Because the doctors are only going based off what they know, which is taught by humans. And human knowledge is limited, but God knows everything. He already knows my future. He already has it planned out. He had it planned out before I was even born. He knew all this was going to come to pass. You know, he knew. So I'm going to put faith into Him. I'm not going to listen to doctors. I took a faith, like, when I was going through my treatments, I was always on time with my chemo, always on time with my medication. Um, but as soon as I got into remission, the doctors was like, "Oh, we're going to keep you on chemotherapy." And then they go through, they're like, "Well, this could possibly happen to you with chemo, you know, just to let you know that, you know, it's a possibility that you're going to develop secondary, third, you know, tertiary cancers even more." Someone I know has multiple myeloma and 4 other cancers on top of that because of the treatment that they had from the prior cancer. So um, I was just like, I'm not okay with that. And I did do it for a few, but it's like the more and more that I did it, the more and more something inside me was saying, don't do this. This isn't right. Don't do this. And then I eventually um, told the doctors I didn't want to do chemo anymore. I just didn't want to. Something inside me, my body, um, something was screaming at me not to do it. And lo and behold, I am doing my checkups. I'm not doing chemo. I stopped my other medication, and lo and behold, my body is still healing. My body is still going as if I was taking chemo. That doesn't make sense. It should have not been reacting that way. It shouldn't have been. And at that point, it was like, wow, something really is special going on. And I have not been on chemo since then. I've been off of it for a while. I've been just by the grace of God, and I bettered myself. I bettered my diet. I bettered my exercise routine. I'm taking better care of myself, not only spiritually, but also physically. Not only physically, but also spiritually and mentally. I did fall away from God after that, though, and people are like, why? I got pulled into a world where I started to listen to people. At that point, my hubby was in a dark place, and then I got sucked into that dark place again, and it just spiraled out of control from there. We were drinking, we were partying. I was getting so drunk that I had actually ended up being taken advantage of twice by somebody because I put myself in that situation. And so I have been raped. I was molested as a child, so I was like gravitating towards thinking that I had to please men, and I didn't say no. So I didn't fight. One of the things I just like caved in. I didn't say yes, but I didn't. Um, I let them coerce me into just going along with it. And my hubby was passed out drunk at the time, so he couldn't help me at all. The other time, I was completely intoxicated, and I don't even remember any of it happening. I just remember being asleep like passing out on the couch, and then this was downstairs in the guy's basement, and because his basement, he turned into like a gathering area at a bar, and had a game area, had a TV and a big screen and furniture so you can and then he had another room. And we were in a lifestyle where it was all about just like sex and sex, drugs and stuff, and it was not healthy, it was not good. And this person had a dungeon, and apparently he had taken me from the couch to the dungeon, and he had his way with me, and I don't remember any of it. I woke up on his couch upstairs completely naked, and I was just like, what is going on? What happened? And I didn't press charges or anything because I didn't think that, um, I didn't blame him. I was like, it's my fault. I put myself there. I shouldn't have been there in the first place. I learned from it, though. I never put myself in a position like that again. Um, I eventually stopped drinking altogether. I haven't had alcohol in a long while. And I stopped associating with that lifestyle. I actually went to my hubby and said, I want to stop. I don't feel comfortable doing this anymore. And he was actually on board with it. I think at this point that we started to take a change to where we're going to better ourselves. And we both started healing. So all the trauma and everything started to really come up and bubble up. And it was this big blowout. We were having fights so regularly. Um, it was horrendous. I felt like I was in a living hell through most of our relationship because we were both broken people, and we had no business being in a relationship, but God put us together. I have that because when I first met him, um, I had this big pull, this big desire, like something was pulling me to move, to be with him. And I couldn't explain it. Everybody tried to stop me. Everybody tried to stop me. My family tried to stop me. Friends tried to stop me. There's only one friend I had that actually was like, "Go. If that makes you happy, go." But everybody else tried to stop me, and I'm glad I didn't listen to them. Um, because I don't think I would have survived. I had cancer at that time. I didn't know it because it was a year later I would have been diagnosed. So 2019 is when I met him. 2020 is when I got diagnosed. So everything happens for a reason, and I believe that God brought us together, not because we're right for each other at the time. It's because that we are made for each other, but we needed each other to work on ourselves. We needed each other to see what we needed to work on in order to be that better version for our partner, for our relationship to work. And I remember during the course of our relationship, people telling me, leave him. You need to leave. Just go. Leave him. You have no right. You don't have any business being there. If you're being treated this way, and I never really fully talked about how I was treated. I was just, always like I would call my parents crying and just wanting them to console me and direct me, and I was asking for direction in the wrong place. I should not have been consulting them. I should have been consulting God. But it was weird because every time someone told me to leave, and I would have that on my mind, something like a voice, would come in and say, "No, stay. It's okay. It's hard, but it will get better, I promise." And I kept hearing that over and over. Every time I felt like I wanted to give up, I just heard that voice tell me, and I didn't understand at the time that it was God telling me that it'll be okay. Trust me. Trust me. I know it's hard. I know that you're going through so much pain and turmoil right now, but trust me, it is going to be beautiful after it's over. And I'm so glad I listened to him, because now my hubby is not anywhere near the man who I met, who I say he went from being a boy to being a God-fearing man. Because right now he is completely night and day. It's like having a twin. You have the evil twin and the good twin, and it's like he made that conscious decision. He saw the evil that he was doing. He saw the hurt, because I tell you, it wasn't easy. He was an alcoholic. So I was being abused physically, mentally, sexually, emotionally by him, and tortured. There'd be moments, and I'm sorry if this can't be, but he'd actually, twist like, my boob, and he'd actually twist it so hard where I would be screaming in pain and crying and begging him to stop. So it went from that. He saw everything that he did, and his wake up was just like a wake up to me. And so we went a couple of years of that mindset to him waking up one day. And I remember a couple of days ago, I was having a kind of a rough day, and I was praying and meditating to God, and I was getting all of this information from him, saying, I was thinking back to everything that happened, and he let me see it from a different perspective. And then he was like, he prayed for you, he prayed for you. And at that moment is when he turned back to God. He saw everything that he did wrong, and he made a conscious decision to say, I'm not doing this anymore. That is not who I want to be. I love her, and I want to be the best version of myself, not only for me, but for her and for us. And that was, I started bawling. I'm crying right now, because it's like, if people are willing to step back and see the wrong that they've done and make amends with that wrong, and they're like, I'm going to make a conscious decision, I'm not doing this anymore. And he just turned his life around. He went from being arrogant, he went from being selfish and self-centered and just this horrible person with this poor attitude, to this man who I can feel the love of him that he has for me just by looking in his eyes. Sorry. It's just a miracle right there. And I think a lot of us take that for granted. That we write people off based on their past mistakes. And when I tell my story, at first I didn't want to tell it because I was like, I don't want people to think he's bad, because he's not a bad man. He's not a bad guy. He is so good. And he has such a good heart. And it was like God was like telling me, no, that's not it. People need to hear his story. People need to hear your story, because that gives people hope. That, and also, you can't define someone by their past. If they are making those decisions to be better, to be closer to God, to walk that path with God, you cannot forsake them for their past. That is not fair. If God can forgive us for our sins, we can forgive ourselves and the people who did us wrong. And I remember just telling him, I'm like, I forgive you for everything, because I don't even hold it against you. I actually thought that, like, not that I was actually like telling him, I was actually thanking God for putting him in that situation, because now I see that bigger picture, that we were saving each other and we didn't know it. He was helping me grow, because I was at a place where people were walking all over me. People were draining me, and I was just being stepped on and discarded over and over again. And he was treating people so poorly. He had so many relationships that he was thinking about cheating on people. He tried to cheat on me several times. He was so used to just doing that, and we at the time didn't realize that we were actually helping each other grow. We were helping each other go to God. We were helping each other build this foundation that we're going to have when we get married, that is going to be so strong that nothing in this world can break it. Nothing can break us, because we have been through the trials and tribulations of evil. We have seen everything. We have been everything. He had tried to kill himself. I thought about suicide so many times. I even had the knife in my hand and was ready to end it all so many times. But we made it, and that's like kind of like my channel, like what I want to do. I want to game with people, and I know sometimes I'm standing here talking, and I apologize. I just get so caught up in wanting people to know that there's hope out there, and it doesn't matter if you're too far gone. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but the consequences are worth it. If people are going to come at me and they're going to make fun of me and they're going to call me names and they're going to degrade me, I'm going to let that bounce off me, because God himself, that no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and that includes words. So they can say what they want. It's going to bounce right off of me. It's not going to affect me, because I know who I am. I know what I've experienced. I know what I've been through. And I want to share that with people. And I know that there's so many people that are on the fence about, should I go to God? Like, should I trust him? Can I trust him? And it is yes, you can. And those are the people that I want to reach. Those are the people that I want to welcome and I want to talk to, and I want to let them know that it's okay. Everything will be okay. There's people here that can help you, will support you. We are family. We're brothers. We're sisters. And we are the children of God, and he is there for you. He loves you. You just have to take that. You have to lay everything at his feet. Go to Jesus. He died for our sins. and connect with God and walk his path, because he wants nothing but the best for you. And there's times it's not going to be easy, and that's okay. Life isn't easy, but when you lean on him, he'll get you through it. He will get you through it. So that's kind of what my channel's about. So if you're listening, and if this doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. I'm not asking you to subscribe. I'm not asking you. This isn't about me growing as a person, my fame. This is me wanting to reach people about the Word of God, and just, game together, because I found that gaming, the community in the gaming, there's so many people that are on here that try to escape reality, and I've actually come across a couple of people who, they were lost and they needed that friend, they needed that person, and I want to make myself available for those people who need somebody. And I know gaming's an outlet, we all enjoy it. Well, those of us, I'm a huge nerd. I've been since I was a kid. That's never changed. I've always been into academics, always been into science, history, even math. At one point I was a math tutor. And I've been into poetry, into writing, reading. I used to read all the time. I still do. I read the Bible every day almost. I try to make time for that all the time. And I'm just this huge nerd, and I've loved gaming since I started out on, I think it was, my dad bought Atari for us. I'm not that old, by the way, but my parents were kind of old school, and we were poor, so it was just like we would get them when the things would go on sale, which is okay. I got that chance to actually have it anyway. Um, so we were poor, but my parents, they did the best that they could, and I love them for that, because they gave me a childhood that taught me so many lessons. And I look at my hubby and how he was raised, and I see where his parents had fallen short, but they did the best that they could with what they knew based on what they were raised. And the one thing that makes me proud is that we are both that generational curse breaker, in our family. He is not going the way of his parents or his grandparents, and I'm not going the way of my parents or my grandparents. I'm choosing not to suffer. I'm choosing to walk with God and to trust him and be faithful. I'm not chasing money. I'm not chasing fame. I'm chasing God, and I'm chasing what he wants for me, what he wants me to do. And one of the things that he wants me to do is to speak to people. Not a profit wise. I do get what we call downloads from God, but it's not in a sense where I'm a speaker. You have prophets who go off to be ministers. That's not my calling. My calling is to reach people on a different level. And I didn't understand at first, because I'm terrified of people. I'm terrified of people because I used to get judged so harshly. People would look at me. I didn't have the clothes that they liked, and I was just um, always beat down. And we grew up in the ghetto in Florida, so I was always teased and made fun of by kids of different ethnicities, and because we were a white family in a predominantly like black neighborhood or Hispanic neighborhood, and it was really hard because people think about racism as a taught thing, whether people know it or not. If you are teaching your kids that anyone who's different from them is beneath you, it doesn't matter who they come across. Um, it turns into racism in one way, but they also do it to their own people as well. People that are of the same color. We're all God's children. Our color of our skin doesn't matter. That should be a given. I don't understand the world with racism. We are all bleed red. We all have a heart. We all have a mind. We are all God's children. It doesn't matter the color of our skin. That is irrelevant completely. But when you teach your children that anyone who doesn't have what you have is beneath you, that is going to go in all areas of their life, which includes, if they don't look like me, then they're beneath me. Or if they don't have this, then they're beneath me. So that goes based on, like with like white on white or black on black crime and racism. It manifests that way because that's just how they were taught. So as parents, we need to teach our children that we are all the same, to love each other, to be kind to each other, to have that empathy towards one another. It is okay for you to defend yourself in that moment. You know, if the anger is appropriate, that's fine. But we don't need to be angry at people just for the sake of being angry at people, or hate people just for the sake of hating people. We shouldn't be hating anybody. Even if someone did us wrong, we should be able to forgive them and move on. Keeping that hate inside you is not healthy, and that's what leads to a lot of the debilitating disorders that we have right now, like depression and anxiety. Um, it's just really important for us to guide our younger generations to where we need to be kind to each other, and that what people look or what they have does not matter. It doesn't matter if someone is low class and they live in the rickets, you know, and in a rickety shack. It doesn't matter. They're not less of a human than you. You know, help them. You know, I'm not saying give your fortune to them, but you can at least be supportive and help them. Love each other. This world is just so dark right now, and I'm actually seeing so much awakening happen that it makes my heart happy. You know, with the kids, the college kids doing the revival and the baptism, bringing those kids closer to God, where they can walk in His path and see the evil that's in our world that is trying to make us all break apart and be separate from each other. They don't want us to unite. They don't want us to be a collective. They want us to feel separated. They want us to feel alone. And when I say they, those are the people that are money hungry. And I don't like politics, but that would be the political parties that we have right now, going on. They care about power, and they will do anything to keep that power, which means lying to us, feeding us all this propaganda that's not true. I have seen so many ads for Kamala Harris, for example, that were not true, you know? And I will be right back here. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream right now. I hope that everybody enjoyed this. I'm sorry if I rambled a lot. I do that constantly, so I apologize. I'll get better and more like put together the more I get used to this. But anyway, I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and remember, God loves you. I love you. You are loved. You are needed. You are important. God bless. Have a great day. Till next time.